Forward in the end. Spackman, very brave in the circumstances, having had that bang in the face. Here's Halstra. Robertson outside him. Halstra can go for goal, and Snelders was moving to his right and suddenly found the ball coming more to his left, but he repositioned, and now the game is stopped. It's a free kick to Aberdeen.
Well, I think everybody's expecting a little cross to the back post here where Mark Hateley's looking. But he decides to have a shot. Strikes it really well, nearly deceived Theo Snelders. But Mark Hateley in a good position in the back post. I don't think he was too happy.
No shortage of shots from Rangers, but not one of them has produced a goal. Gary Stevens was the player singled out incidentally by the referee after a little skirmish on the far side while we were analysing the effort from Halstra. Hateley. Well, there haven't been too many cracks in front of Theo Snelders. Aberdeen sticking to their task. A draw would be a most pleasurable result for them in the circumstances. And maybe more than that, as Mason takes it up for them here. And goes on. And it was Kane who was alongside him. Possibly in the end got a little too close and didn't have enough time to really pull the right foot back to get full venom into the shot.
Yeah, it was a little snack shot here coming up. As you say, he couldn't really get his leg behind the ball and get any power behind it.
Spackman wholeheartedly again. Brown coming across Ian Jess then. Jess was angry. Brown blocked him off. Irvine, most solid header. Neatly done by Kane, the makeshift striker. Here's McKimmie. Not surprisingly, there have been a number of players with bumps and bruises in this game. The latest is Brian Grant, who's just able to make an intervention then, but he's still limping. Tripped by Halstra. Aberdeen wondering whether they might get the referee's blessing to attend to Grant. They're telling him to get down from the bench.
Yeah, I think the games went a little bit scrappy and a little bit physical, which is a great shame because we're watching two sides here that are capable of playing splendid football. And that's not really been the case tonight. It's been more of a battle.
I think this was the foul by Halstra on Mason. I think the feeling after the most recent meeting between the two sides up at Pittodrie last month in the Scottish Cup, and it was a feeling shared by the then Aberdeen manager Alex Smith, that his players didn't quite make enough of a fight of it then.
Well, they're certainly
doing it tonight, yeah.
Well, they're certainly doing it for Willie Miller. I think that's the one thing that he must be delighted with tonight, the commitment his players have shown him.
Scott Booth very gingerly joining those in the dugout now. Well, it was a shame, a great shame for Aberdeen that his part in the match ended so prematurely. Bet to take the free kick. Coming towards Irvine. There's a fine jump by Stevens. Bet. Irvine stayed up there, giving the Rangers something to think about. Ferguson's flick. Irvine out of position at the moment. Stevens. Aberdeen have their full complement now in the centre of defence, but they're being pulled wide by Goff's initiative. Oh, and he was absolutely sure that that was going to be a corner. Rangers are taking off Dale Gordon. Well, the number 7 board was held up. And the game was quickly restarted, so Ian Durrant will have to wait. Right. Now they can make the change. Well, Dale Gordon was taken off in the last game against Motherwell. Ian Durrant, who has had such a fight against that dreadful knee injury, which of course was sustained playing at Aberdeen back in 1988. And the crowd always recognising his efforts to make a comeback every time he's involved. Haitley. McKimmie. Here's Tenkat for Aberdeen. They are well represented in the middle if the Dutchman can play across then, which was in the end beyond him, with 15 minutes to go. Gordon, what do you make of the Rangers substitution?
Well, I think we mentioned earlier that they maybe lacked a little bit of guile in the middle of the park, Rangers. Well, they brought Ian Durrant on, and he certainly is a man with tremendous skill, a man that makes great forward runs and gets into good scoring positions. Maybe not fully recovered from his injury yet. Obviously that will take a long, long time. But as you heard the roar when he went onto the park, he's a hugely popular player here.
Paul Rideout is also going through his warming-up routine, because Rangers need a goal. Halstra. That was a most elusive piece of work from him, and McCoy's tried to let it run. There was some impeding done then by Ferguson.
Well, the ball broke. Jim Beck got the film. The ball broke in his favour there, but I don't think he was too concerned, because really Aberdeen, there's an awful lot of Aberdeen players behind Jim Beck, and looking up there was 2 Aberdeen players up front and something like 5 Rangers players facing him. So I think he was quite happy to get pulled back by referee George Smith to where the foul was committed.
Mark Haitley might need a match or two after his layoff to get back to full sharpness. Rideout is to come on. It's possible, of course, he might be a direct replacement for Haitley, or they might really go the aerial route.
Yeah, well, it looks like they've pushed Ian Durrant up wideish left and switched Houstra over to the right wing. And if they're hoping to get crosses in, maybe Paul Rideout's the man to go up and partner Mark Haitley.
Robertson. There's Spackman. McKimmie, who certainly held his own at right back for Aberdeen, as one would expect from a regular international player. His old partner, David Robertson, helping out Rangers then. Halstra, left-footed, but given the job at the moment on the right-hand side. McCoist is offside. And down by the bench, Davy Dodds, one of the coaches here, and Archie Knox looked away in disappointment then. Jess, here's Kane. He's got a bit to do. Jess is there to help him. Tenkat coming into the centre. Aberdeen know they won't get too many moments to snatch a winner, but when there is one around, they're prepared to gamble and react quickly in getting players into the Rangers penalty area and make the most of the chance. Well, it's another fine crowd in this fabulous stadium. Stevens. Here's a ground that may be used a little bit more by Scotland. With the World Cup qualifiers coming up later in the year. Ferguson. Robertson trying to set up for Ian. Jess had covered him. And Robertson's gone wider now. And he can be used by Spackman. Aiming for Haitley. Always excellent defensive duty again from Gary Smith. Goff. Durant allowed to turn. He likes to shoot from long range. He can also find a pass for Haitley's head. Robertson bounced behind off McKimmie. Corner to Rangers. "11 minutes left. Durant's corner. Over Haitley. Houstra looping it back in again. John Brown. Well stopped. At a fairly comfortable height for Snelders. Once he was in the right position, his positioning was very important here, as well as his stretching.
Yeah, Hoisler just flicks it up there and he tries the loopy header, but Theo Snelders maybe a yard or two off his line.
Robertson, but they get it away through Grant. Aberdeen pen back at the moment. McCoist. Well, this is the time when sides which have the stamp of champions might just assert their quality. Rangers looking to win the league for a 4th consecutive year. Haitley, and now Goff. Brown! Well, there was some sort of barrier there for Aberdeen. Spackman. 10 players in red. All back in their own penalty area, and there were enough in the way of Brown's volley. Here's Jess, now Spackman. Grant, held up by Goff. Haitley, was that handball? No. Gary Smith taking it on the torso. Grant. Ten-Cat, giving him an angle. And now, Kane in the centre. Jess coming in as well. And David Robertson, coolness itself. Particularly after what happened to Gary Stevens in the first half.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen now will be looking to get the ball up to the strikers. For them to hold on to it and just give them a little bit of breathing space at the back, because Rangers are putting a lot of pressure on Aberdeen.
Rangers have put a lot of effort into the game. But it's still Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0. McKimmie. Betts springing ahead of him. Jess infield. Got the run of the ball against Spackman. Oh, and Ten-Cat didn't want to have to go this wide then. He's taken some of the menace for the moment out of the move. And he'll get his cross in. Jess. Oh, Ferguson. That's a moment of potential embarrassment for Ian Ferguson. It is a corner.
Yeah, the desperate swipe at the ball there, not realising that there was nobody around about him at all. He trying to control that one.
So Jim Bett taking all the time he can to get over for the corner. Being encouraged now by the referee to buck his ideas up, otherwise he'll be in trouble for time wasting. There's McKimmie. Mason. Irvin still in the centre. Brown is there. Spackman, there's only one ball out for Rangers. It involves Ali McCoist. It was well played too. McCoist has to get support from a deeper position in Durant. But Aberdeen were a bit stretched for a moment. Halstra. Now Stevens. Spackman. They've been banging away at the door, Rangers. And Haitley very nearly went across the threshold. Snelders right on the line.
Yeah, it's a terrific cross. Goes to cross it was like dummies. It's in a nice cross with his right foot. Haitley a good head and Snelders well smashing save by the goalkeeper.
Well, he was right back on his own line, Theo Snelders, when he got his hands to the ball there. And it looked for a second as though Haitley's header would find its way through. This terrific resistance from Aberdeen. Team from the Granite City really showing some steel. Well, it's the type of performance, mostly a rearguard action, that Willie Miller, the player, would have very much enjoyed being a part of. But as a manager, he'll be anxiously counting the seconds away, because Aberdeen aren't away from here with a point as yet. And David Robertson goes again. Has to settle for giving away the throw. Durant very snappily on the scene to get the game restarted. Ferguson. It's asking a lot of Stevens, even his sprinting ability not up to that.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned the Aberdeen back four tonight, and rightly so. They've played magnificently well, but also their midfield have closed Rangers down very quickly tonight and not really let Nigel Spackman, Ian Durant now, Ian Ferguson get the type of service into the strikers that they would like.
And when the outfield players have been found wanting, this fella's done his job.
Yeah, he's not a bad goalkeeper, I tell you.
One thing that Alex Smith can be proud of, the players like Snelders that he brought to the club, who will go on after his time as manager. Halstra. Here's McCoist. Goff is right up there. Haitley coming in, and it ran off Mason for a corner. Almost a case of Aberdeen getting too many players in there. Mason believed that he'd actually spared Aberdeen this anxiety, but a corner it is. Haitley. Tenkat and Irvin getting in each other's way. Durant. Snelders will come, and there's nothing Rangers could do about that. But what Aberdeen are continuing to do is recognise this opportunity of catching Rangers out and turning 1 point into 2. George Smith actually helping Rangers unwittingly then, but it won't leave him red-faced because McCoist was offside.
Well, they were under tremendous pressure there, Aberdeen, but I'll tell you, they didn't have great forward in numbers when the ball broke up the other part, the other end of the park. But
well, he's very close, Willie Miller, to completing a satisfactory first night as a manager. They've certainly battled for him, the team wearing red. Brown. 2 minutes to go. Right tackle. Haitley giving away a free kick, and Rangers really haven't got much time to be doing that, given their ambition for victory. It isn't, we must say, a major setback were they to drop a point. It will certainly keep Hearts very interested. This is Kane. Grant's got into the box, and Robertson saw him coming. Ten Cats cross. Grant, Mason coming in, one number 14 dealing with another though, Ian Durant. Well, not too many of the crowd have left, and the huge Rangers support hoping for a sting in the tail. Well, as long as it happens at this end of the ground, of course. Haitley, beaten by McKimmie. Ranging forward here is Paul Mason. Ferguson stops him. Irvin. Back it can go. But there haven't been too many negative thoughts in the Aberdeen minds. They've obviously been pressed back as they would expect here. But when a raid has been on, they've recognised it. But now it's just a matter of running down the clock.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen take the honours this evening. All in all, it's if you like your football physical, well, this is a game for you. But personally, I prefer to see a bit more football than has been played tonight. And it's a result that, if it finishes a draw, it'll keep the league championship wide open, and a result that will delight the Hearts management, players and supporters. And of course Willie Miller as well. He must be well pleased with his side.
We're into stoppage time now. Kane. Mason making sure that Durant has to play it back. Brown is aware that what space there was along his back line. Hallström. Here's Goff. Typical of the man. He's not settling for a draw at this late stage. And whenever there has been potential for him to join his midfield men and even the strikers, Richard Goff has done it. But for all the effort, for a greater share of the ball, Rangers haven't broken down Aberdeen. Snelders has had to make all the difficult saves in the match, but he's manufactured them with high class. Robertson. Now Hallström. Oh, he's turned brilliantly, and Gary Smith, in keeping with a splendid performance, had also turned.
Yeah, terrific little bit of skillway history here, but it doesn't fool Gary Smith. And as you said, he's had a tremendous evening.
Well, no time for the corner to be taken. Willie Miller starts his managerial career, delighted, I'm sure, with a draw here at Ibrox. Only the second point Rangers have dropped in 13 league games. Their margin now over second place, Hearts, extended to 5. Rangers, you would feel, still on course for a 4th championship in consecutive seasons. But Aberdeen have made a more than useful start to a new era. We'll have a word with Willie Miller, I'm sure, after the break. But at Ibrox it's finished. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0.